Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast postgame show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Welcome in. Thanks for being here with us on this Sunday evening. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen. Mario Tirabassi will join us shortly from the United Center. Lots to get to in this one. The Hawks lose 4-3 to the Wild in the shootout. Before the game, it's announced that Seth Jones has an injured right thumb, and he'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks. So there's your number one defenseman, gone for a while. So there is a ton to get to. And another game, and Greg, as we sort of like look at the season from 30,000 feet, every game's kind of the same. They work really hard. There's moments where the other team really starts to take it to them. Sometimes they hold on, sometimes they don't. And now where they in the beginning of the year they were coming out ahead, now they're coming out behind. And tank win, I guess you would call this. They got a point instead of 2, but it's going to be kind of the same story with this team every night because they do play hard, they do compete, and like we said, after 2 or 3 games, it's going to keep them in a lot of games that maybe they don't have business being in.
Yeah, this is one of those games that the talent gap eventually won out in the end. A guy like Matthew Boldy, terrific young player, big fan of his.
Yep.
Coaches will tell you at any level that shift right after a goal is some of the most important of the game. And first goal, 22 seconds later, Matthew Boldy ties it. Yep. They go up 3-2. 17 seconds later, Matthew Boldy ties it again. So you gotta. Almost on very similar plays, too, and you got to have more awareness. I mentioned that while we were watching the game. Now, overall, the effort was much better tonight defensively and overall. That first period, last night in Buffalo was a train wreck at times. Discipline, for the most part, was much better, but the talent gap eventually wore out when the Wild have more talented offensive players. We saw that. Situational awareness is not great on this Hawks team.
Yeah.
The structure is there, the effort is there, but being aware of the moment is lacking at times, and it costs them a bit of this.
Yeah, I think part of that, too, is experience with each other. And that's something that Luke Richardson said after last night's game against the Sabres, saying, we're not really a young team, but we're a new team. We're a team that's still figuring each other out. In the third period of this game, Troy Murray and Chris Foster's were talking about how much better the on-ice communication has gotten between the Hawks, from game 1 to now. It's vastly improved. And I think some of those things, like we've been talking about the last few games, you're seeing that top line, the Kane, Domi, Athanasiou line, start to learn each other's tendencies and learn how to play with each other. The whole team's going to come around in that way. Tonight you had a whole bunch of new defensive pairings. With Seth Jones out, you had a lot of guys playing more minutes than they're used to with Seth Jones out. So losing him, whether or not you think he's great or that he sucks, whatever, losing Seth Jones is a major, major loss because it's a guy who's playing 23, 24, 25 minutes a night in all situations, and now everybody kind of has to step up. We're going to get to what might happen with that with Mario when he joins the show. One thing I want to get to, too, Greg, on your topic of situational awareness, and I know this is going to be a hot topic on today's show, so we might as well get right into it. Late in the third period, I almost said Colin Jost. Tyson Jost puts a hit on Patrick Kane. He gets a penalty. Max Domi doesn't like the hit, comes in, beats up on Jost, gets the 2, the 5 in the game. So Max Domi is not available for the remainder of the game, which included overtime, which included the shootout, and
wiped out a power play you were going to get with 2.5 minutes to go in a tie game.
Correct.
I am 100% on board for protecting guys taking liberties with Patrick Kane, but maybe that's not the time to do it. Maybe you keep that receipt in your pocket. You're playing these guys 3 more times that year. Maybe you realize, hey, or maybe somebody that's not Max Domi does it instead. Because the Wild will get Max Domi kicked out of the game every time for a few bruises on Tyson Jost's head. That was a trade they'll make every time.
Yeah.
Their leading goal scorer heading into the game is gone in a tie game. Your leading power play producer gone and took out a power play. You have to defend Patrick Kane. I understand that. And he went to the penalty box and gave him a fist bump, and that's something you probably wouldn't see on last year's team.
Oh, no shot. No shot in hell.
But again, you have to be aware of the time.
Yeah.
If that happens in the first period, by all means, beat the living crap out of Jost. But you're trying to win hockey games still.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just not the best time to do it. Overall, I'm not mad
No,
that he
I
did
know.
it, but it would have been cooler if it didn't. It would have been cooler if they were on a power play in a tie game with 2 minutes, or Max Domi was available in 3-on-3 overtime.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. It is I'm so on the fence about this because you're right. Last year, you never would have seen that. I don't think I've ever seen Patrick Kane go to the penalty box and thank a teammate for standing up for him ever. And when we were in Denver, we had some time to kill, and a documentary I'd never seen before called Ice Guardians was on. And it was about enforcers and about fighting and all these things. And I'd always been on the side of, or at least in recent years, been on the side of like, fights are dumb. They accomplish nothing. All they do is cause concussions. They don't really protect anybody, yada, yada, yada. This documentary kind of changed my mind a little bit because you've got goons, you've got star players, you've got guys saying, I know that I'm not going to run Patrick Kane because Domi or Tenorti or whoever is there. Back in the day, it was Probert, it was McSorley, it was Donald Brashear, it was, on and on and on. You go through all the great enforcers of all time. Those guys don't really exist anymore. But knowing that there's a consequence, an immediate consequence, I think can prevent those things from happening down the road. And I don't think it's any coincidence that since the instigator has been added as a rule, you're seeing more and more hits like what happened to Jujhar Khaira and guys like Jacob Trouba and Rafi Torres, and are just running wild, putting dangerous hits on star players as opposed to someone like Proby out there to make sure it doesn't happen in the first place. Yeah. And I'm really conflicted here. And I think I'm actually, and after hearing what Troy Murray said about it, who is one of the smartest hockey guys around, who has been through wars, he's won Stanley Cups, he's won Selke trophies, for him to say, I love what Max Domi did there, I think I'm going to kind of agree, because it's 1 point. At the end of the day, maybe it doesn't make a difference, but guess what? Maybe the team they're playing. Who are they playing? They're playing the Islanders on Tuesday. Maybe the Islanders are scouting this game and they see Patrick Kane take a hit like that, and now one of the Islanders is not going to make a hit like that on Patrick Kane, and instead of losing 1 point for standing up right away, maybe Patrick Kane doesn't break his collarbone and miss a month. Right? Of course, it's not quantifiable. You can't quantify it prevented something from happening. There's no way to measure that. But I do think there's some truth to that. Yes, of course, it would be better to have Domi in overtime and in a shootout and all those things, especially since he's kicking so much ass in the faceoff dot. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm not so worried about points in the standings that I was kind of happy to see Domi do that. And I'm kind of surprised I'm surprised at myself that that's my take.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying it maybe not the best time, but overall,
yeah,
you have to protect your stars. You have to protect your line mates. So, if it prevents other teams from taking runs at Patrick Kane, then it's worth giving up the point in overtime. Absolutely. Again, we don't know.
Yeah, you can't. There's no way you can know that.
But I 100% agree with you that the instigator rule is dumb and it needs to go away. Because if anything, it was Jost that instigated that reaction.
Yes.
Just because he didn't put his hands up to defend himself, I mean, he turtled.
That's a great...
And Domi got kicked out because he turtled. So he's man enough to hit Patrick Kane from behind, but when it takes face-to-face, he turtles like a small child.
Yeah.
F that.
See, that's the... Yes. That's why I think the instigator sucks. That's another reason I think it sucks, because it's not very often a guy's just randomly picking somebody out of a pile and starting to pummel them.
Right.
It's a response to something. So if someone boards Sidney Crosby or Cale Makar or Nathan McKinnon or Connor McDavid, and then somebody on those teams grabs a guy and beats the hell out of him, the instigator is not the guy responding to the hit. It's the guy that made the hit. That's why I think that the instigator sucks. I mean, it's one of the many reasons.
So if I want to get a guy kicked out for 17 minutes, all I have to do is just lie there and not defend myself.
Here's if you want to get Max Domi kicked out for 17 minutes, take a cheap shot on one of the league's best and most accomplished players. Then when you have to face the consequences of that, put your head down and cover up your head, and all will be fine.
It's a Bush League move.
Yeah.
So I do hope that the receipt of that is actually cashed in and somebody lines up Jost and puts him in the third row with a clean hit. I'm not saying we need to lynch mob justice here. But,
no, of course.
But just remember, hey, you took a run at our guy, and when it was time to answer for that play, I got to watch my mouth here. But chicken shit.
It was
chicken shit.
Yes, it was. And I don't know. I think it is meaningful. Like, look, we've seen some Hawks teams in recent years that had a lot of talent but didn't fight for each other. And when I say fight, I don't mean necessarily punch. Right. I mean fight for each other. And Troy Murray said this during the game. This was right after the Domi and Jost, air quotes, fight. Troy Murray pointed out that a team that's been together this short of a time, they've got a really strong bond.
They do.
And it's growing. And things like that tighten that bond. And look, we can get all galaxy brain and try to do the math on whether fights are good or not. To a man, NHL players love it. Yeah. There's no one in that Hawks locker room right now that's mad at Max Domi. Not a single guy. Except maybe Luke Richardson a little bit. But guess what? When Luke Richardson played, he would have done the same damn thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't...
When Luke Richardson played, if that happened, Jost wouldn't have skated off the ice under his own power. He would have been a stain. Yeah. But he also probably would have defended himself, too, because that was a different era, too.
Right, he's a tough guy.
This is why, this year, having the access that we do, being able to be in that locker room every day, I'm not surprised in the least that that's what happened when Kane went down. And then it was Domi that did it.
Yeah.
He's
still a Domi.
Right.
That's in his blood, man.
But that room, 10% into the season, we saw it right away in training camp. You could just see that it was a different feel in that locker room. There's more camaraderie. There's more togetherness. They've definitely playing that us against the world, nobody believes in us card to a T this season. And, Luke Richardson said it earlier last week. It's a very easy card to play when you're in that situation. So they're doing it. So it's thanks earlier. We had a super chat from Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks for the super chat. It's to see them compete and lose just stinks. I get it, yes, but that's also kind of the plan. That's kind of what they want. They want a hardworking team that doesn't get a lot of points. But the Domi thing, I'm with you. I'm not mad. I'm okay with it. But maybe next time, closer game. Think about it first. But it's easy for us to say, you should have looked at the scoreboard and realized where we were in the game and then made your decision. No, it's heat of the moment, instinctive reaction. And, let's just bar a scenario, right? Someone jumps your best friend. I'm not thinking
You're not looking to see if there's a cop in the corner. You're reacting right away.
I'm grabbing the sharpest object next to me and I'm going after the guy.
I'm just trying to find some of this bottle. Oh, there's some. There's some right there.
Yeah, I get it. And so
you just see red and you react. And yes, a professional should be able to separate themselves.
It's very easy for me from the press box or from our leather couch here at the CHGO studios to say, maybe you shouldn't have done that. But as far as hockey players go and a player like Max Domi, it was pure instinct and good for him.
Yeah. Hey, Steven, I saw earlier in the chat that our friend Region Rev had some thoughts on this, and I know she kind of disagrees with me, with us on this topic, and I just want to get to some of her comments because there's a lot of people that kind of agree with her. She said we would have had a power play, which is a really great point, right? Yes, had Max Domi not done that, the Hawks go to the power play, and maybe it never gets to the shootout, and they get both points, and the Wild get none, which is wonderful. I see where you're coming from, and like I said, I'm slightly surprised by by my reaction to it, but I'm just so used to seeing this team not do that for each other. Even in the heyday, they didn't do that because they just knew, like, well, screw it. Now we have a power play, so screw you. We're going to put Hossa and Kane and Toews and Sharp and everybody on the ice at the same time and go F yourself.
Because one of my biggest examples of when people say, like, when you were talking about the Guardians, Ice Guardians documentary that we had on in Denver, one of my biggest arguments were the people are like, well, you got to have guys like that because they prevent the hits. And I always point out the Marian Hossa Rafi Torres play. Brendan Bolig was standing 5 feet away from that. He didn't prevent anything.
That's true.
So,
and I've made that argument too.
Yeah, well, that's because, Bolig was supposed to be that type of guy, but never really was. He just talked that game and never actually did it.
And part of it too is maybe he hadn't established a reputation yet, league-wide, that like Bob
it was also
Colbert
Rafi Torres, who is just a criminal, and he has a brain of a sociopath.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have mattered. But yeah.
Well, sort of, if we're going also to the bar fight example, if you see your friend get knocked out, you're like, that is such a triggering thing to see that you kind of like, everybody freezes. Like, oh my God, what is he okay? Like, you're not thinking fight anymore. You're thinking, oh my, you're concerned.
Right.
So, and Bullock was not on the ice at the time either. So, and I think Torres was thrown out of that game, wasn't he?
No, didn't even.
No, there was not even a penalty.
Didn't even get a penalty.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
So they
It was somebody. They ended up. I think the Coyotes ended up getting a power play out of that situation.
Well, Jamal Mayers, I will never forget this about him. I don't know if it was the first game of the year the next season. The Hawks played the Coyotes, and Jamal Mayers fought him right off the hop.
Oh yeah.
And again, that went a long way. People remember that.
Don't be surprised that the next time the Hawks and Wild get together, I don't think they play again until December in Minnesota. Don't be surprised if number 10, a guy like Jake McCabe, a guy like Jarek Tenorti, his first shift is going to be like, let's go, buddy.
By the way, you mentioned this the other night. On the list of guys I would F with, Jake McCabe is one of the last, dude.
He's not. I'm not messing with him.
He is not. He's not an enforcer by any means. He obviously is a physical player. He just looks like he could rip your face off.
He's a tough guy he's the type of guy that you just can look at, never knowing what he does for a living. If you just saw him like at the grocery store, you'd be like, I don't want to mess with that guy.
Yeah, that guy will whip my ass.
Like if there's one 6-pack of Diet Pepsi left and you grab it at the same time, after you, sir, by all means. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to go in the back and see if I can find you some more.
Let me pay for it for you. I happen to have a coupon.
Yeah. He's a tough guy.
He is. I mean, look, a guy who came back from spinal surgery and he's out there wrecking people and blocking shots. Like he's a gamer. And the Hawks, I mean, look, those are the kind of dudes, we keep talking about it, that Kyle Davidson wants.
Yeah.
Jake McCabe types. And I thought it was really cute today. If you've been to a game this year, first intermission, they let the little tykes do a little obstacle course, during intermission, and then they interview one of the kids. And Jenna Rose was like, who's your favorite player? And the kid's like, Max Domi! He did not hesitate for a second.
I missed that. I was getting cookies.
Yeah, I mean, Domi has endeared himself. When we've seen people in the chat saying, I want to get a Domi jersey.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, he's been great.
Rightfully so. Great. By the way, up in the press box tonight, in between periods, it was like walking through a pack of hockey cards from my childhood. It's like, there's Bob Murray, and there's Bill Guerin, and there's Dirk Graham, and Reed Simpson. That's part of all those years I covered AHL games and sitting next to those guys. That's something that never gets old for me. I'm always love walking around the press
There's
box.
Arlie Talapsky's dog.
That's a different box.
That's a treat for people that watched last night, too.
Miss a little, miss a lot.
Oh, God. I just shuddered when you referenced that man. It's okay. It's all right. I learned a lot from him. All right, let's recap the scoring here. I'm going to try to get through this. I'm so bad at this. Something I never had to do in radio was go through the highlights. 6 minutes and 39 seconds in, the aforementioned Jake McCabe gets his first goal of the year, and this is such a 2022-23 Blackhawks kind of a goal. Sam Lafferty driving the left wing side, fighting off a defender with one arm, stick handling with the other. I would even say Hossa-esque on that play. Drives behind the net, gets it to McCabe. McCabe scores from the point. Beautiful goal. Lafferty with his 4th assist of the year, and Tenorti picks up his 1st assist of the year. 42 seconds later, and this will be a theme as the show goes on, Matthew Boldy ties the game. McCabe and Lafferty are battling with Wild players along the board. McCabe loses his stick, tries to kick the puck out of the zone. Boldy retrieves it, skates in, and scores. Just kind of one of those plays. Ryan Hartman got the assist, but I don't know. Maybe he helped poke it free. It was a very sort of incidental assist on that one. So 42 seconds after the Hawks take the lead, the Wild tie it. 2-1 in the first period. 10:52 in. Mason Shaw scores a goal. This one is a Stalock special.
Yeah.
Slides over to stop.
He's over in the corner.
Yeah.
And,
He slides over to stop a scoring chance, but literally ends up sort of between the post and the trapezoid. So Sam Steele takes the puck and just kind of like, well, thank you very much, sir. Goes around, feeds it in front. Mason Shaw scores the goal. His first. Steele gets his first assist, and Connor Dewar gets his second.
We have a lot of comments about Stalock in the chat. We'll chat about him maybe after Mario. We've got thoughts on the adventure that is Alex Stalock.
He certainly is. The highlight of the game. Well, there were two highlights tonight that we might not forget all year. Boris Kachuk sent Freddie Gaudreau to outer space with a hit.
He erased him.
It was freaking awesome. It was a bomb of a hit. It was an old school 80s hit. I wish to God we could share highlights on this on our broadcast here, but it shouldn't be hard to find. I don't think people tweet about Boris Kachuk very often. I tweeted it from my own account at Jay Zawaski. I think we all did. So go check out that hit. It's absolutely brutal.
Six hits from Boris tonight, 2 shots on goal. The most noticeable he's been since being acquired. And
yes.
That's the kind of game he has to have.
Absolutely. He was great. So the first period ends, Hawks down 2-1 to the Wild. There's a couple plays I made note of. Athanasiou got a really nice scoring chance, but Brodin got his stick in there at the last second to deflect it. He sort of walked himself into scoring position. Another big hit by Boris Kachuk in the second period. Then there's a fight. Jared Tenorti and Ryan Hartman drop the gloves. Tenorti swings, and Hartman ducks, so Tenorti punches Hartman in the back of the right shoulder, and Hartman's immediately hurt. And I think Tenorti knew it, too, because he kind of just like let him fall.
That looked like a dislocated shoulder immediately.
Yeah, so I think Tenorti literally punched Ryan Hartman's shoulder out of socket. Hartman immediately went to the bench and did not come back for the entire game. Each guy got 4 minutes for roughing, which I thought was kind of an interesting penalty call. That they both dropped the gloves, they engaged, but there's only one real punch thrown.
You can't get a fighting penalty when you break the guy before he can throw a punch.
I guess not, right. Later in the period, another play. Boris Kachuk. Looks like a glorious scoring chance for the Wild. Boris Kachuk on his horse, back checking, lifts the sticks, prevents the shot. Beautiful defensive play from Boris Kachuk. One thing I noticed in this game is that they were not calling a lot of penalties at all.
No. The refs definitely had 9:30 reservations somewhere.
Yeah, seriously. Taylor Radish got pulled down behind the play right in front of the referee. The referee was like,
right at it.
Hey, look at that.
We both sat in the press box pointing at the ref going, he's looking right at it.
He's watching it. He's right there, but actually worked out because the Hawks scored moments later. Yeah. Philip Kurashev takes a shot, gets deflected wide behind the net, bounces back in front. Kurashev puts it in front on Toews' stick, and Toews gives it a few whacks, and it's right behind Marc-Andre Fleury. That's Toews' 5th of the season already. Kurashev, extend Kurashev, hashtag extend Kurashev, his 4th assist of the year. And Philip Roos gets his first NHL point.
Good for Phil.
Late in the period, Jonathan Toews has a great scoring chance. Marc-Andre Fleury with a glove save. Toews skates right over the Fleury and bumps him in the chest. You could tell it was a cordial, friendly exchange, but Toews was a little bit frustrated with getting denied on that one. So it's 2-2 after 2. Third period begins. Boris Kachuk takes a penalty. As soon as I declare him, I don't want to give it away. But they kill it off. Right out of the box, Kachuk gets a scoring chance. Fleury with another glove save. Then 10:02 into the period. The goal of the year so far, Andreas Athanasiou undresses Matt Dumba, stick handles through his legs, lifts a backhander over the shoulder of Marc-Andre Fleury. Just a beauty. His third of the year, assisted by Patrick Kane. That's his 7th assist. Jared Tenorti gets his 2nd assist of the season as well, and the game. 16 seconds later, it's Matthew Boldy again. He's wide open, gaping net to shoot at. We'll get the Stalock again here in a little bit. Does not miss. It's 3-3. Then we get to overtime. Zuccarello denied. Toews denied. Kaprizov scores. Kane doesn't score. Gaudreau scores. That's it. Wild win 4-3 in the shootout. The Hawks have points in 6 of their last 7 games, but they lose this one 4-3 in the shootout.
They had a very good shootout philosophy with a guy like Stalock that comes out of the net and challenges the shot. Just fire between the legs because he's scrambling to get back. Chances are you're going to find room there, and both guys scored between the legs.
By the way, Kaprizov is just unbelievable.
He's something about wearing number 97 in this league.
Good Lord.
Everything he does is so quick and effortless, and just he's like we'll get into it with the Stalock stuff, but there were a lot of times where it was like he went right behind the net because he knew Stalock was going to play the puck, and he's quick enough to get there, break it up, and then try and score. So, again, situational awareness. You don't have to play the puck on every single dump.
Yes, exactly. Boy, the shot just explodes off his stick. It's unreal.
That was my first time I got to see him in person, and me likey. He's good.
Cool. We'll
he's good.
Him. Yeah. All right. Mario's going to join us here in a few minutes, but first I want to tell you about our friends at Green Ridge Farm, a local Chicago meat and cheese company offering you a better all-natural option. We've been talking to you about the meat sticks, and our buddy Meat Peck really stepping the things up in the kitchen today, adding the Green Ridge Farm meat sticks to his mac and cheese.
That looks amazing.
I'm giving you the fat guy salute, Matt Peck. You are not fat, but you're fat at heart, and that's all that matters.
I don't know. A few more meals like that, and he's going to be...
he's one of those metabolism guys, man.
Yeah.
He will never be fat, but his heart will rip out of his chest when he's 53.
The way he gets excited for October Bulls games, I love the guy, but it may be a lot sooner than that.
Well, get yourself some meat sticks. Throw them in whatever food you want to do. They are all natural. Perfect for tailgating, happy hour, school lunches, or mac and cheese. All natural, hardwood smoked for 8 hours. They got 16 grams of protein per stick. So if you work out, maybe have one after a workout. That sounds like a good idea. I wouldn't know. They come in chicken, black forest beef, and flavors like jalapeno cheddar and spicy chili. Friends, if you have not tried the meat sticks yet, you don't know what you're missing. They are made from generations in the making.
Them for a while.
I'm trying to ad-lib. And being all natural, they deliver a fresh and flavorful alternative at snack time. Find them in a refrigerated section at Costco. They got the big old pack of meat sticks. Go grab that. Sam's Club or in your local Chicagoland grocery store. And right now, go to greenridgefarm.com. Order any 3 meat products and include a pack of meat sticks in your cart. Those meat sticks will be free with the code CHGO at checkout. Green Ridge Farm, simply natural meat.
And before we bring in our buddy Mario at the UC, quickly want to tell you about Shady Rays, the very coolest sunglasses you can get on the market. They never understood why sunglasses were so expensive, so they set out to change it. You don't have to break the bank for quality sunglasses this fall because our friends at Shady Rays have you covered. Shady Rays are premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles that can be catered to everyone in every lifestyle. The best part about Shady Rays is their protection program. If you lose or break your sunglasses on day one, does Tyson Jost take a cheap shot at you from behind and you break your sunglasses? No problem. No questions asked. Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. Even with that strong of a protection program, they still manage to make quality eyewear that I could tell you, as being a customer for a few years, are just as good, if not better, than any expensive name brand pair you can buy on the market. And Shady Rays customers will agree. They have over 200,000 5-star reviews on their website. They also do a very good thing. When you buy sunglasses, for every pair, they will provide 10 meals to fight hunger in America. and they have donated over 20 million meals nationwide to date. So you're gonna you're gonna look good. You're gonna feel good. What could be better than that? Well, you're gonna save 50% off 2 or more pairs when you use the promo code CHGO at checkout. That's buy one, get one free, essentially. You can get 2 great pairs of sunglasses for as low as $54 when you use the promo code CHGO at checkout. ShadyRays.com. Check them out.
All right, let's bring in Mario live from the United Center. What did we learn post-game, Mario? We've been talking a lot about the Max Domi fight, and we're going to get into Alex Stalock a little bit here, but we learn anything new on the Seth Jones or potential call-up front?
No.
All right, cool. Thanks for joining us, Mario.
Have a safe trip home, Mario. Thanks for having
No. As far as call-ups or anything, no. I feel like that's gonna be left for tomorrow or maybe even Tuesday morning. Blackhawks are off tomorrow, so we'll see what happens with that. But no, nothing really addressed about anything like that post game. As far as making up for the lack of Seth Jones, Luke Richardson said that he was pretty pleased with the way the defense responded in that situation. Said he liked what he saw out of Philip Roos, who hasn't played in a couple of games. So it was a good game from him. Caleb Jones also put into given more responsibilities. If the Blackhawks would have had a power play, he would have been the top power play unit's quarterback in place of his older brother. But we didn't get to see that. So I mean, for a situation where you lose the only guy on your team, not just the only defenseman, but the only player on your team averaging over 20 minutes a night, and then you come in with 4 players really, if you add in the overtime minutes as well, 4 players defensively that played over 20 minutes, led by Jack Johnson. That's kind of a situation that I don't think any Blackhawks fan thought that they were going to be in this year. But with Seth Jones out for 3 to 4 weeks, we're probably going to see that scenario play out a few times over this span of time where he's gone, where Jake McCabe might play 25 minutes tonight. Connor Murphy might play 25 minutes. If Jack Johnson continues to lead the team in ice time, that's a different story. But we'll likely see him also have his ice time increased over the time that Seth Jones is gone. And honestly, defensively, the team could have been better. The responses after scoring, I think, were the biggest thing that both Luke Richardson and the team were kind of focused on after this game, because for a combined 39 seconds, they held leads. They opened the scoring with Jake McCabe. Andreas Athanasiou with a highlight reel goal gave them a 3-2 lead midway through the third period, and Matthew Boldy put a stop to those both very quickly. So that's something that you don't want to see, and that's something that both Luke Richardson and spoke with Jared Tenorti about it as well. Those are things that the Blackhawks have to tighten up. So hopefully that's not a continuous up and down roller coaster this year where they're blowing leads or coming back from multi-goal deficits. It would be nice if we could just have a very steady Blackhawks lead the entire game, or they just lose, or they're just trailing the entire game and it's totally fine and normal. So we have yet to see one of those games.
Yeah, I feel like we've been a little bit negligent in acknowledging Caleb Jones. And when he was scratched for one game for Philip Roos, I think I said, I'm kind of good on Caleb Jones. I want to see what other guys have. But since rejoining the lineup, he's been really, really solid. Look, he's not going to be a top 3, top 4 guy, but he's really stepped up his play lately. He's had a 4-game point streak going into today's game. Did not pick up an assist in this one or a goal. So the point streak is over, but he's just been really, really solid, and you're seeing him gain a lot of confidence with the puck. He's going to get some opportunities now with Seth out to step up and get some offense. So I think we've been a little bit hard. I'll point this out myself. I've been hard on Caleb Jones a little bit, but I've been really impressed with the way he's played since the healthy scratch, since coming back in the lineup. I think he's been really good and deserves to stay in the lineup. And, of course, with Seth out, he will be.
Yeah, and Luke Richardson the other day, provoked, mentioned Caleb Jones and how well he's played of late, saying that he wants all of his defensemen to shoot the puck more and get the puck up the ice quickly, and Caleb is one of the better guys at doing that. Didn't have a shot on goal tonight, but as Nate points out in the chat, had 3 takeaways and 5 block shots, which was tops on the team in both of those categories. And that's what you want from your defenseman.
Yeah.
Taking the puck away and preventing shots on goal. And after giving up 45 shots on goal last night, there was a more concerted effort of shot suppression tonight, with Jones leading the charge.
Yeah, I mean he's been getting praise from Luke Richardson in the last couple of games, and I think it's I think it's definitely valid. You know, he's come in, and early on in the year it was him and Philip Roos kind of flip flopping each game, and I think Jones just strung together a couple of performances that forced Richardson in a good way to keep him in the lineup. So yeah, it's been positive for Caleb in the last couple of games, in that more minor role, bottom pair role, and that's good to see. If he's going to be the number 6, be the number 6. If he's going to be the number 7, you know, he's going to have to play his way in, and I think he did that.
A lot of people in the chat are fired up about Alex Stalock, and we've been talking about him a lot since Mrazek went down. He is an adventure.
He gives you things to talk about.
It is certainly, boy, he cannot just stay in the damn net and just let the game come to him. Like, I don't mind an aggressive goalie who wants to go out and make things happen, but it's almost like he's bored. Dude, we were talking during the game, like, let's get him one of those, like, invisible fences that dogs have, or a shock collar where Luke Richardson has. I just watched Ragnarok the other night for the first time, and they put that thing on Thor's neck. And anytime he moves, like Jeff Goldblum can just hit the button, and shock him into
that, or like the defenseman should have like spray bottles where you do with your cat or your dog. Spray him in the face every time he leaves the crease. Bad dog, bad dog.
Yeah.
It's his game. I know he's good at handling the puck, but man, you don't need to go out and play every single dump in, especially when there's 2 defensemen, 2 forwards coming in on you.
Yeah.
And there's a defenseman standing there. You can let your defenseman play the puck every once in a while. And that's not even talking about his aggressiveness in the crease. I mean, we've seen it all season. Tonight it caught up to him. You know, he when he gets sliding side to side, he does not stop very well, and it cost him a goal tonight.
I mean, look, and he has been okay. He's been better than we all thought he would be. That's for sure. But there's 3 or 4 heart attack moments a game, and I know that like Luke has taken the high road on it and said like, oh yeah, you know, it's always an adventure with Alex. I wonder how he really feels. But Troy's watching the game saying, I love it. I love watching Stalock play. I bet when he was winning Selkies, he would have been like, get the F back in your net.
Because he's not playing defense in front of him.
Right.
It's a lot more fun to watch it from the broadcast booth.
I would love to hear an honest assessment. Like, what are the challenges of playing with a goalie that plays every puck? Maybe that's the way to ask it. Next time I'm at practice, maybe I'll pull a defenseman aside and say, he likes to play the puck a lot. What are the challenges? And what are the or you could say, what are the advantages and disadvantages of a goalie that plays that way? You got to set him up with a compliment first.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think, you know, Stalock, it's an adventure every game. Each period is different, and each game presents its heart attacks, and late in the I think it was in the overtime or late in regulation, I couldn't remember exactly, but he made a huge save with seconds to go, and then seconds later was playing the puck and almost turned it over behind his net on his own, and so it was just, you know, the quintessential Alex Stalock play where, you know, he can make a save, he can make a really good play, and then you're just begging him, please stay in your net. I think it's just going to be the ride that we're along for with him this season. I don't think it's been as awful as it could be, but it's also not sustainable. So I think we're kind of just riding out Alex Stalock in the way that he's gonna play in his net until things become absolutely god awful. There's eventually going to be, with the way that he plays and the way that this defense now without Seth Jones is kind of set up, I feel like there is a game coming where this Blackhawks team with Stalock in net is going to give up 5, 6, 7 goals in a night, and we're going to be ripping out our hair because we knew it was coming with the way he plays. So I think it's coming. I hate to have that mentality, but it's just the way that he plays. It's not sustainable. It's not.
Michael in the chat says, "What good is having a goalie coach if you can't coach these guys to stay in the crease?" The other thing, though, is Alex Stalock got to the NHL playing this way.
Yeah, he's 35. He's not
Yeah,
changing.
so
he is who he is.
Right. I do think, though, like a 30% reduction in leaving your net could be helpful. But again, for these guys, it's instinct on all these things, and he feels he's got a read on the puck. He feels like he can make a move. It's just that's just how he plays, and I'm sure they can say, "Hey, we'd really like you to kind of calm it down a little bit. If you've got 2 defensemen converging behind the net to get the puck, stay there, because chances are, if it's 3 of you behind the net and the puck gets loose somehow, that's going to be a goal." And there have been a few times, you said it, Mario, where it's been okay so far, but it's not sustainable. There have been a few dodged bullets from Alex Stalock where you're like, how did that not go? How did they not score on that? Where there have been gaping nets and the opponent just missed it.
Marco Rossi had a play in the first period where he had a wide open net and he just threw it over the crossbar.
Yeah.
Well, and I think with Stalock, he's been in the league for a long time, and this is how he plays. This is how he plays goalie. This is how he plays the net. And goalies are weird, man. Like they sometimes, it's just what got you here, and if it works for you, it works for you. Now, if Alex Stalock was a 22-year-old, prospect, and you could maybe mold him a little bit more to be like, hey, calm down, buddy. Like let's. Yeah, I think a good example of that is Colin Delia was very extra movements, sliding all around when he started his pro career, and it was a tough go of it. But eventually he learned to be a bit more steady, a bit more stable. And, it turned him into a pretty decent AHL goalie from being a very all over the place ECHL goalie. Stalock, I think this is how he plays. And as far as the coaching aspect goes, you kind of at that point have to just be like, hey, let's minimize the opportunity for things to go absolutely haywire and work with the defenseman that you're playing with to understand, like, hey, normally when this puck is ringing around the boards and going to go around, I'll go out and go get it. And I think the defensemen understand that when Stalock is playing, they may not have to work as hard to go retrieve pucks. But I do agree that sometimes they probably are just instinctively like, oh, I'm going to go get this puck because they've done it their entire life. And most of them haven't played with Alex Stalock before and haven't had him do half of their job for them. And there were a few times tonight where I think he was almost running over the defenseman to go get the puck when they were 5 feet away. Yeah, so I think it just comes down to these guys getting more reps together in game and learning their tendencies. The other side of that is a lot of these guys aren't going to be together for a long time. So, I think it's just hopefully limiting the opportunity for things to just fall apart.
I want to get your take on the Max Domi game misconduct situation. Greg and I were sort of talking it out. I sort of surprising to myself, liked it. I thought it's something that could bring a team together. It's something that this team has not had in a long time. And to see Patrick Kane skate over to the penalty box to personally thank him for standing up to him, I think that's huge. I want to know where your head's at on that, on Domi doing what he did when he did it.
Well, I'll first say what Luke Richardson said in his post-game availability. He said that he will never have a problem with a player sticking up for another teammate, no matter the situation. And I think he has the same opinion as every player in the locker room. Do you want to take a power play off the board late in the third period of a tied game? No, but I think this is the scenario that you're going to find yourself in more often than not when you have a guy like Max Domi, exactly like Max Domi, on your team. We've seen a few times this season already, as early as it is, where Max Domi has either stepped up for a teammate or taken things into his own hands when he's been upset with an opponent or a call by the ref or whatever. I think he makes it a bit of a choice to try not to go to the penalty box by himself whenever he can. He usually would like to take an opponent with him as well. But I think this is just kind of the trade-off you're going to have to live with a guy like Domi on the team. And honestly, I think if you do ask every player in the locker room, they will say, yeah, we love having him on the team and being the guy in that scenario to stick up for us. And if he was on the other team, they'd all hate him for it. But I think that's what we kind of have to live with Max Domi. For myself, yes, you would love to have the power play. But, that's a moment where I think most NHL players are not going to take the time to register everything in the moment. And they're just going to go off of instinct and say, hey, you took a hit on our best player that was dangerous in a close game, and they're not going to let that slide. So I think logically you don't want that to be the case, but I think in the moment, in the brain of an NHL player, that's going to be the situation 99 times out of 100.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't think of a single guy in that locker room right now who's mad at Max Domi.
No.
Right.
I think everybody is, when they got back in there after the shootout loss, that's probably the first guy that everybody on the team went up to and patted on the head, smacked on the ass, whatever you want to say, probably to a man. And if there's a heavyweight belt given out, might be him. It might be him who gets it in this one. So, it's an interesting game with a lot happening in it. We haven't even talked about the Athanasiou goal yet, really, which was just absolutely unbelievable.
Can you you're at that level right there, Mark. Can you take a quick look to your right? And is Matt Dumba's jockstrap still hanging up there with the? It's not up with the Bulls banners. I thought it'd be way up in the rafters. The way he got shook out of it.
Yeah, it's still sitting by the U.S. Bank sign down there. Yeah, they haven't cleaned it up yet.
Well, that was pretty nasty, and we've been kind of laughing at Athanasiou's expense that he can make these great moves, but he doesn't finish. He's been finishing lately. Yeah, he had another sweet goal. Was it last game or 2 games ago?
2 games ago. Yep.
Yeah, the Oilers game.
He's finished his last 2 breakaways. So, in our faces.
Yeah, well, seriously,
I think what's important to make a distinction on it in this goal is that it wasn't a breakaway. He created the scoring chance in a one-on-one against one of the better defenders in the league in Matt Dumba. And the book on him his whole career has essentially been, he's Victor Stalberg. He's very fast and he's not going to score any of his chances. And early on this season, we saw him create a ton of chances using his speed. And then, loses control of the puck at the last second, or stuffs it right in the goalie's pads and isn't able to finish it. And I think if you have a guy like Andreas Athanasiou, the line mates that he has with Max Domi and Patrick Kane, they're starting to figure out their chemistry and where they are and the chances that they can take with each other offensively. And you give Athanasiou some confidence in his ability to finish some of these chances, because they're going to come no matter what. I don't think there's been a game where he hasn't had either a full breakaway chance or created some sort of breakaway or one-on-one chance with his speed. It's going to happen. It just comes down to him being able to finish. And I think if you give him a bit of confidence, it could become he could become a really dangerous offensive weapon for this team, which would be great to see, because hey, it makes games exciting and it ups his trade value. And so that's all you can ask for from a guy like him. And if it puts the Blackhawks on a couple of SportsCenter top 10 plays, I'm not against it.
Yeah, Athanasiou and Max Domi trade value watches are going exceeding expectations. I think so far. Both of those guys are looking very appetizing to contending teams if they keep this up.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's get to our 4 stars of the game.
And Jay, before we do that, I'm going to give you the first ever reminder. Should we talk about who the 3 stars were first?
I was literally. It's so funny that you're doing that because this is the first time I actually remembered to do it.
Wow! And
so I'm glad that we are subconsciously communicating.
Much like
Steven.
the Domi, Athanasiou, and Kane line are gelling on the ice.
Yes.
We're gelling here as a foursome as well. I love
All right,
to see it.
thank you, but I appreciate that. Yes, thank you for saving me from myself. You want to fire up that rock and roll bluesy bed, and I'll
take it away, Black Keys.
And 100 other bands just like that. All right, the 3 stars of the game. Number 3 star was it's Mason Shaw. I couldn't think of his first name. Mason Shaw is the number 3 star of the game. Matt Boldy, obviously the number 2 star, and Kirill Kaprizov gets the number 1 star because he's just awesome. My 4 star of the game, we've talked about him a lot. In this one, Boris Kachuk was just outstanding. 9:14 of ice time. He had the least amount of ice time of any Blackhawk in this game. 2 shots on goal, 6 hits, and a block shot. Boris Kachuk is making his limited ice time count. He's trying to earn himself a more permanent role here, and playing that way is certainly going to get the attention of Kyle Davidson and Luke Richardson. Again, he put Freddie Gaudreau into orbit. Maybe Freddie Gaudreau can catch up to Matt Dumba's jockstrap now and retrieve it like as he comes around the other side of the moon, the slingshot move they call it, and bring it back down for him because I thought Kachuk was great, and he's been really good since rejoining the lineup. You could tell he's hungry. You could tell he's got something to prove. So really liked his game in this one. The 6 hits, many of them memorable, and I pointed out earlier a really terrific back-checking play to prevent a glorious scoring chance for the Wild. So it's not just the hits. He's doing all those little things necessary to help win games. So Boris Kachuk gets my 4 star.
And I am going to go with another guy that tied Boris Kachuk for the most hits with 6. Defenseman Jared Tenorti had himself a real nice game. This was a guy that wasn't even on the team until literally like the day before the season started. And we're all kind of like, oh, okay, this is going to be a depth guy, 7th guy. But Luke Richardson's a big fan of the way he plays the game. And he's been a stalwart in that lineup tonight. He had 2 assists. The second multi-point game of his career and first since 2014. I was looking up that stat, and 2013-14 with the Montreal Canadiens, he had no points the entire season until he had 2 assists in the last game of the year for the only 2 points of his season. So second multi-point game of his career, 6 hits, had that scrum with Ryan Hartman we talked about. You know, Tenorti is not going to win a Norris Trophy anytime soon. He's not going to be representing the Blackhawks at any All-Star games. But, man, when you need a guy to finish a check, you need a guy to be big and physical, he does it night in and night out. Not the greatest defenseman in the world, but he plays his role perfectly.
Yeah, and I think we're going to, with Seth Jones out, I think we're going to see a little bit more of a role for Tenorti. He's already been second pair. Like, who, if you had waiver claim Jared Tenorti being second pair defenseman on this Blackhawks team on your bingo card, like, good on you, because that came completely out of nowhere.
I also never would have predicted Jack Johnson playing nearly 25 minutes in a game.
Right.
But here we are. So hockey seasons are weird and dumb. Let's go for the ride.
You put that next to free space, and I think somebody's got bingo. Yeah, I think Tenorti had a good impact on the game tonight, and good for him to get that, because he's come into a situation where he's basically here to keep all of the prospects in Rockford. He's basically like just the barrier between Rockford and Chicago right now on the blue line. But he's come in and he's played his role, and he's done a really good job of it. My 4th star of the night is another guy who is upping his trade value, and that is Jonathan Toews. I mean, we talked about him in the last couple of games being the reason that the Blackhawks have kind of faltered at critical times in the games. He had the turnover against the Oilers that led to the game-winning goal. He had the bad penalty last night against the Sabres that led to the Blackhawks having to kill off a power play at the end of regulation going into overtime, and obviously Buffalo was able to score. So it's been tough for Toews in the last 2 games, but it was good to see him getting the goal tonight. 83% from the faceoff dot in just over 19 minutes of ice time, 3 shots on goal. I mean, he had a good bounce back game, and I think he is continuing this. I wonder to call it a hot start to the season, but an unexpected start to the season after the way things went all of last year and the way things finished last year. He gets his 5th goal of the season tonight in game number 9. It took him 47 games to get his 5th goal of the season last year. I don't want to overreact, but Jonathan Toews is currently on a 64-point pace in an 82-game season, which would be the 2nd highest point total since the Blackhawks' last Stanley Cup for Toews in a regular season. So I think if he continues the production, it's going to work on a couple of levels. It's going to work on upping his trade value, and it's also going to work on maybe helping his confidence and maybe helping his attitude in the locker room. Because if he's producing and playing well, he's going to probably feel better about himself. He's going to feel better about the team, and probably feel better about playing under Luke Richardson. Now, does that lead to him wanting to continue his career in Chicago? It's up to him. But I think it can't hurt to have a good attitude for Jonathan Toews and a good mood for Jonathan Toews, because Grumpy Toews was good for nobody. So he's my 4th star tonight after getting the goal and having a good start to the season productively.
All right, Mario, have a great Halloween with your little one. I'm sure it's going to be a great time for you. Save me all the 3 Musketeers and bring them in. I would appreciate that. But have a safe ride home, man, and we will talk to you Tuesday after Hawks and Islanders.
Awesome. See you guys.
All right, man. Take care. That's Mario Tirabassi, live from the UC. Follow him on Twitter at Mario_Tirabassi. And with that, it is time to update the tank standings. I love it. All right. Does this, Steven, include Anaheim's win over the mighty Toronto Maple Leafs
It does
tonight?
not.
So the Maple Leafs helping us out.
Okay, so Arizona moves to the top of the tank standings, if my math is correct, because they've got 5 points in 7 games, whereas the Ducks have 5. Oh, no, it'll be 5 and 9. So Anaheim's still at the top.
Yes.
5 points in 9 games for the Ducks. Arizona, 5 points in 7 games.
They lost to the Rangers.
They lost to the Rangers. Yes. San Jose, 6 points in 11 games. Vancouver, 6 points in 9. Columbus, bad freaking hockey team. Yikes.
Ass. They're bad. I think Anaheim and Vancouver are eventually going to get out of this.
Yeah.
They're too talented. I'm again not picking San Jose to be at this bad all season. They still got some good players. Columbus sucks.
Yeah, they're
all that excitement for Johnny Gaudreau has just been crapped on and flushed down the toilet. Yikes.
Yeah.
Get a goaltender, guys.
So the Blackhawks, with 10 points in 9 games, are 14th in the tank standings. So that means they are only the 14th worst team in the NHL as it stands right now.
Not where you want to be, but a long way to go.
Long way to go.
Long way to go. And not having Seth Jones for the next month.
That will help.
That's going to help. I mean, you don't want to help the tank by losing one of your best players, but I think a lot of people who underappreciate Seth Jones for whatever reason after a month are going to maybe think a little differently and maybe feel. I mean, like the hairband legend Cinderella once sang about, you don't know what you got until it's gone.
That's right.
I think a lot of people that
Tom Kiefer knows his shit.
Yes, he does.
And the 2 people that know Cinderella, Steven, learn about Cinderella. It's your homework assignment.
Not the Disney movie.
You don't have to, actually. It's okay.
But just look at time. A lot of people who hated on Corey Crawford all those years, now that he's not here, can appreciate what they had. So we'll see how it goes. But long way to go. But those tank standings, not where we had hoped they'd been at this point of the season.
You know where I hope I will be someday soon? On the golf course. And when I do, I'll be looking very dab in my gear from Pins and Aces. They are the official golf apparel partner of CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gears and get tons of compliments on and off the course. Family-owned golf and apparel business. They make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, even our favorite beer sleeve. Do you like beer? Chances are, yes, you probably like beer. How about a 7-beer sleeve that stores right in the golf bag? Keeps your drinks cold the entire round. You don't have to look around for the drink cart, which is actually the best part of golf, is when the cart girl arrives and you say, give me an ice cold beer and a bag in a granola bar that's already crumbled. That's the fun of the golf treat cart. But yeah,
Do you
bring
pour
that
the granola right into your beer?
Yeah, you could. You really could. It's like a smoothie. Check out pinsandaces.com. Use that code CHGO and you'll get 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. Awesome stuff. Go check it out. You will love it. And it's always golf season. Top Golf. You can even dress up for, those like, you got a christening or something like that. Golf gear often works in those scenarios.
Speaking of cool gear,
yes.
If you want to get some awesome sports gear, and why would you? You need to check out our friends at FOCO. You already have got the best coverage for your favorite Chicago teams, provided by us. Thank you. So get fitted out in the best sports gear around. FOCO has got you covered from the United Center to the living room, the north or south side. They've got hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. You could probably get a good deal on those Blackhawks banana hammocks since the temperature's dropping.
Yep.
Get decked out by our favorite 4 stars of the game, like Boris Kachuk or Jared Tenorti, from the apparel leader
That's gonna move
in
some
sports merch and collectibles. Hey.
You
either buy a shirt that they're wearing or they'll punch you in the face.
Okay, fair. I
That's
will
gonna
buy
move
one
the
then.
product. Anyway, FOCO, if you're looking for the perfect gift for the hockey fan in your life, FOCO's got you covered with hoodies that will keep you warm when you're sitting close to that United Center ice. Check out FOCO.com. That's FOCO.com. Or click on the link in the YouTube description or podcast descriptions, wherever you're listening. And as a special bonus for CHGO listeners, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off any non-presale items at FOCO.com.
All right. It is time for, before we wrap up, the DraftKings King of the Game. It's going to go today to Andreas Athanasiou, simply because that goal was so ridiculous. That was absolutely a sick goal. Go find it. It's amazing. He had a goal, 3 shots on goal, 2 block shots, and 2 takeaways. And I said this to you during the game, Greg. He's a bit tougher than he gets credit for.
Yeah,
he does not back down, man.
You when you hear really fast player, you also don't think physical.
No,
because fast guys normally don't have to be physical because you can't catch them to hit them. But Athanasiou will get his nose dirty. He'll go behind the net and dig out pucks. He'll get in guys' face. He'll complain to the referee. But no, he's got an ornery side to him, which can be found in the Abdullah Oblongata, as I learned from Waterboy, which you still have to watch.
I guess I got to watch
So
it.
you
Jenna
didn't get-
Rose
you
was
didn't-
rocking the...
you didn't get that reference because you've never seen it. So
a lot of good Halloween costumes. Jenna Rose had the...
Bobby Boucher.
she had the Bobby Boucher, but I really like Casey's costume better. She did the Succession. Succession.
Yes.
Casey, Jenna.
Right.
I prefer Casey's
absolutely.
costume.
It took me a second to register it because I don't know Succession, so it didn't.
Yeah.
I was just
No, it
like,
was great. Really good costume.
Oh, Casey's just dressed for an important interview.
Yeah. It looks great. I want to remind everybody, by the way, it's finally time to hit the ice again. And thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you're in for the season of a lifetime. Listen up. New customers can bet $5 on any team and get $200 in free bets if they win. Bet against the Leafs if you want. That'd be a lot of fun.
Easy money.
Yeah, it's easy money. If that wasn't enough excitement, you can turn those small bets into bigger payouts with same game parlays, and that's not just with hockey. That's with all the sports. Combine multiple bets, like which team will win, how many goals will be scored, and more for your shot at an even bigger payout. And like Greg mentioned yesterday, when you do the same game parlays, you can set your over-under. You can say, oh, you know what? I'm going to take like a higher payout and say, usually the NHL over-under is 6.5. That's kind of the default. If you really believe it's going to be a high-scoring game, you can get better odds at 7.5 a bigger payout that way. You can adjust it with these same game parlays. It's really, really great. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code CHGO. Bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game and get $200 and free bets if they do. That's code CHGO at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Thanks everybody for joining us on this show. Lots of people in the chat. Make sure before you log off that you smash that like button. Get in the habit of smashing that like button. If you're listening on the podcast apps, like a lot of people do, make sure you're subscribed. Turn on those notifications so you know as soon as an episode drops. We would greatly appreciate that. And make sure you're following the show on Twitter at CHGO_Blackhawks. We want to get those followers up. We've got a lot of cool stuff on the horizon. I've got my Blackhawks beat thing I write that comes out every Tuesday. Greg's got his This Week in Blackhawks History. Mario and Greg combine for the rebuild report. Tons of great stuff at allchgo.com. So make sure you're following us on Twitter at CHGO_Blackhawks, where you can find all that great stuff as soon as it goes live on allchgo.com. I think we've gotten everything else, right? We good?
Tailgate, November 6th.
Yes, November 6th. Join us at
1 week from today.
a week from today at the Bears. At the Chicago versus Miami
Professional football tilt.
official CHGO tailgate. It is the best in the city. Your tickets include food, all you can eat, all you can drink, all the cornhole you can play with our beautiful Chi-Town cornhole bags. It's awesome. Come join us. It's a wonderful time. You do not need a ticket to the Bears game to attend the tailgate, but you need a ticket to the tailgate to attend the tailgate. So go to allchgo.com to purchase your tickets. Join us out there on Sunday. It's supposed to be beautiful. It's going to be an awesome, awesome time. Greg will be there. Yep. I will be there. Mario will be there. The whole CHGO crew is going to be there. So come out and say hello and party with us before Chicago v. Miami. All right. I think we're good.
I think we are. Off day tomorrow.
Off day tomorrow. Ooh, happy Halloween. Remember, no one's giving your kids drugs with their candy.
Right.
No drug dealer is giving you free drugs.
Right. And if they are, send me your address.
Yes. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, I promise. But be safe. Take care of your kids. Have all the fun you deserve. I can't wait. We're having a little bonfire in my driveway tomorrow. I got the Jack Daniel's Tennessee Fire to add to my apple cider. Woo! It's going to be a fun night. Cannot wait. A good day for
Jay's
a day off.
All gassed up.
All right, everybody, have fun. Be safe. Have a great Halloween. We'll talk to you Tuesday after Hawks Islanders. By the way, Native American Heritage Night at the UC. So if you don't have a ticket, go on Game Time, get yourself a ticket. Make sure you use that link in our podcast descriptions to purchase your tickets. But it's going to be a good time for Native American Heritage Night. Always a special time to be at the UC. So that'll be this Tuesday. We'll talk to you after the game on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.